Notice how we've lost some of the spacing and margins here. That's because when we saved the blog post to the database, the body is plain text. It's no longer wrapped in a paragraph tag, so we lose some of that free styling that the browser provides. So this is a good opportunity to figure out how to update an existing blog post. I will bring back PHP Artisan Tinker, and let's grab that post. So app models post, and I'm not sure of the ID, so let's just grab the first one in the database. My first post, and it matches up. Okay, so notice how the body, again, is plain text. Now, often you'll store blog posts as either HTML or even Markdown that you then parse on the way out. Let's do HTML. So if I were to grab the body, and let's change it. So in this case, it looks like we have a single paragraph. So I will say the body is now a paragraph tag, and then I will add what it currently is, and then we will close the paragraph tag. Okay, so now if we have a look at post, the body is composed of HTML. But just be careful, if you come back and refresh, it's not going to change until you persist it. Post, save to the database. Okay, so now if I come back and give this a refresh, we get some of that free browser styling because it's now in a paragraph tag. Let's do the same thing while we're here for the second post. And that one has an ID of 2. Okay, same process. App models post, and this time we'll use the find method defined by an ID. So the same process, but this time I can hit the up arrow key to cycle through my previous commands. Like that, and then up again to find save, and it saves a few keystrokes. So if I come back and refresh that, we're up and running. Okay, so now a few things to keep in mind. Let's go ahead and use app models post, or often Tinker can alias it for you automatically. But that allows me to skip the full namespace. And I could grab the first one from the database again. So that will be this guy here. And yeah, what if we were to say post title, and maybe ultimately when you fill this out through a form, maybe you say the title is my, and then you wrap it in strong tags like this. Maybe using a WYSIWYG or something like that. Okay, so now if I save it, let's see what happens. We come back to the browser, and it's not what you expect. So notice that by default, when echoing out data, Laravel will automatically escape these special characters, because usually that's what you want, it's more secure, it's a good default. So if I view the source, this is what actually is being sent to the browser. So what about the situations where you actually want HTML? Well, we should handle it in the exact same way as the body of our post. Back to PHP Storm, let's go to a single post. And notice what we did here, the same thing. If you expect HTML, and if you're in control of that data, this is a really important one. If you're in control, then you can freely swap that out. So come back to Firefox, refresh, and now it's no longer escaped. But of course, in this case, kind of a bad example on my part, because the default weight for an H1 by the browser is bold. So if I were to change that to normal, then we would actually see that in effect. But you get the idea. Now again, I say make sure you're in control because, well, think about it. What if we were to, let's have a look at our post, let's change it, and maybe this is something any user in your system can set. Well, what if they try to be annoying and they do something like my post, but then they sneak in a script alert, hello. If I were to save this now and come back and give it a refresh, they've now created a blog post that triggers some arbitrary JavaScript for every single person who views that post. So obviously not what you want, and you got to protect against these things. So I hope you see why, by default, Laravel plays it safe and assumes you probably want to escape it. So in this case, if you did, even if they try something malicious like this, it won't work. Okay, so that's an important distinction to keep in mind. Are you in control of the data that you aren't escaping? If so, you should be safe. But if you're not in control, if it's a form that a user can submit, you need to take a few more precautions.